Welcome to the Penny Bloom Podcast. Ain't another place that has got more bombast. Romp past your mom, dad's listening to Tomcats. Talking everything that make you sad. We don't want that. We're here to make you smile. Put your mind at ease. Peace, love, and bloom, and always praise Keanu Reeves. This what we about. This some weeding now. We'll talk until we can't no more, and then we peacing out. Alright, let's go. Penny Bloom Podcast. It's the Penny Bloom Podcast. Penny Bloom Podcast. It's the Penny Bloom Podcast. Penny Bloom Podcast. Penny Bloom Podcast.
Well, hello, motherfucker. How you doing?
Not bad.
Good.
Chill.
This is the Penny Bloom Podcast. 'Tis I,
Penny
Colton
Bloom
Robertson.
Podcast.
I'm joined by Tavarus Pennington. What's up, homie?
Nothing much. Living the dream, thinking today is Sunday. It's not.
Oh,
it's
Monday.
But it don't matter, because I'm going to treat today like a Sunday.
Fuck it.
I had to write, I wrote 14 pages on Saturday. And I was talking to Kenna when I, or the day before, I was like, I just got one more thing left to do for the semester. And it just happens to be a 15-page paper. And they're like, well, while you're writing it, just remember that you're the one who put yourself in this situation. And I was like, I will remember that.
Okay.
I will remember that. And I remembered it the whole time through, but I did it. And more like 14 and a half pages. I just kind of
you were like, okay, so I don't quite get to 15.
Yeah, I was like, I don't. My argument's probably not complete,
Bro,
but
I'll never forget when I was down at Mizzou and I wrote this 10-page paper.
Mm-hmm.
I just bullshitted the fuck out of it. I don't know how that shit got to 10 pages, bro. Like, I can hardly fathom that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I was just like saying stuff in different ways.
Yeah, that's. Well, it's kind of harder to do that. Mine was a research paper for my capstone in English, which is like part of my graduation requirements.
You need that shit.
Yeah, and it's supposed to be like a major project or whatever. But like
something I should have been working on all year.
I had been working on it, kind of ish. But it gets hard, and it's just like, and this is the thing I've been realizing about myself is like, I would appreciate everything about my life so much more if I could just choose one thing to focus on for a set amount of time. And nobody bothered me about anything else. Yeah. But you look around, and there's pretty much nowhere in the world that works, except for people who are extremely rich already.
Oh, exactly. You need gobs and gobs of money.
Yeah. Otherwise, you're going to be stretched. It's just the way of the world.
It's just the way of the world. Speaking of gobs and gobs of money, Spider-Man No Way Home came out this last weekend.
Yeah.
And it's relevant to what we're talking about today. It made $253 million this weekend in the box office, which is the second most all time, behind Endgame and above Infinity War.
Yeah. Which is wild. Everyone's
in a Pangea.
In a Pangea. Yeah,
holy shit.
That's pretty impressive.
Now I'm interested. Treatment of this movie, is it is like, oh, this is the movie that got people back to the theater? Or is it like, none of these other movies have excuses for performing poorly in a pandemic?
No, everyone loves Spider-Man, and they did something bold here.
They did something remarkable.
They did something bold. They knew it was going to sell. They, like, it...
And spoilers ahead for everything in the last year of comic book movies and TV shows, because we're doing a ranking today of all the comic book movies, Marvel and DC, that came out this year, live action anyway. And then we'll do some talking about all the TV shows that came out, and but no ranking there. That became a little too hard. It was like, how do you put one over the other here? There's a lot of them.
They're all very different.
They're all very different. Movies, it was much more cut and dry for me, but
yeah, no, I mean, it's just like Spider-Man is expected to do the best, I think, in a lot of ways, because that is the only, with the exception of Zack Snyder's Justice League, which I think will justify fine, as well as the plain justification that it's a 4-hour-long movie. That's the only character that people are really familiar with on a widespread basis. All the other movies are either like side major characters
Right.
or just completely new characters.
I saw a tweet today that said West Side Story would have made $900 million if the trailer had Chris Evans saying 60 years before the events of Infinity War. We thought we had it all.
60 years.
West Side Story. Just
Pretty much.
No, yeah, it probably would have made a little bit more money if they didn't have Ansel fucking Elgort as the male lead in that movie. Fuck that dude.
Yeah,
Jesus
I saw
Christ.
your tweet. Wait, what do you have against Ansel Elgort?
He's a predator, dude. He's disgusting.
Wait, really?
Yeah.
Holy shit! I didn't know that.
It came out like last year.
Wow.
Like a whole bunch of shit like about him just last year. And then a year later, Steven Spielberg has him as the lead in West Side Story. I was just like, that's fucking insane.
West Side Story. That's yeah. I don't know.
I was like, I like what they're doing otherwise over there in West Side Story. I'd really like to see it. But fuck, I can't stand looking at this fucking guy.
Steven Spielberg doing a West Side Story seems. I don't know. Like I don't understand. Like I get it, but I don't really. Like people write new scripts for new things all the time. Why do they just do the same plays over and over? Is this a live action version or is it?
Yeah, it's like a movie adaptation. The way that like La La Land is a musical. Like I think that's the way West Side Story is a musical. You know what I'm saying? Like it's
but it's just like I don't get
in
why
universe performing songs in the Heights sort of thing.
They do the same story. Like I would much rather hear of Steven Spielberg doing an In the Heights or something. Like something that is like original. Like I don't know. It's
like what we've seen a lot of these classic plays.
Yeah. Honestly, my opinion on plays is about to get real controversial in about a month or so because my last capstone is with this professor who I've had who's pretty strict, and it's about plays, early modernist plays, so early 20th century.
Oh, okay.
Plays.
Good era.
Yeah, good era. I'm not a fan of reading plays.
Nah, they're hard. They're hard to get. You got to be a theater kid.
You got to be a theater
to really, really appreciate it.
And
I'm not gonna lie to you. It's something that I low key wish I would have been into when I was in high school.
Oh
yeah. Like I remember like respecting the fuck out of the theater kids at my high school and just being like, that could never be me.
Yeah.
that could never be me.
I go watch the plays in college, and I'm like, yeah.
No, I'm not getting on stage in front of people and singing my fucking heart out.
They rehearse like daily too. Like,
dude, they're incredible.
Hours, like,
respect to theater kids. They deserve it all.
Yeah, your interests confuse me. Like how I don't know. There's also money in it though. I was watching a documentary about Tobey Maguire, and he started out in the theater. Didn't want to be in the theater. Actually wanted to be
make millions of dollars as Peter Parker's Spider-Man.
No,
he made a lot of money.
He did make
a lot
of
more
money
than Andrew Garfield or Tom Holland.
What's crazy
right
is
now.
like a little statistic was like how Spider-Man 3 bombed in the box office, which I didn't remember because I fucking love Spider-Man 3. I was a kid.
Yeah, same.
I was just like,
I remember being like, Spider-Man 3, that's the shit. And then like I rewatched it recently and was like, oh yeah, that's definitely the worst Spider-Man movie.
yeah, no.
I love it. It's entertaining, but it's not good.
Bombed at the box office, and then this one, it's like. We just watched another third in the trilogy of Spider-Man, and it was phenomenal. But probably just because they said what's his first name?
Sam Raimi.
Sam Raimi. Yeah, they were like people were confused as to what Sam Raimi wanted to say in that movie, and he was like, "Yeah, I was too."
Well, that's what's funny too is there was a whole bunch of like studio controversy the way that like Justice League got bogged down by Warner Brothers. Spider-Man 3 kind of got bogged down by Sony. At least according to history, the way it kind of like looks back on it.
Apparently Tobey Maguire kept making demands too. He had on the set of
Tobey Maguire was kind of a drama queen back in the early 2000s. I'm not gonna lie. No, like he deserved it. Like you know, you the actor, you get your money, get your bag. You know what I'm saying? Fuck the producer making a lot more money than you. But like,
he had been in a movie previously about horse racing. I can't remember the name of it.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Though.
And he had like
Seabiscuit,
yeah, and he had fucked up his back. And so when he came back for Spider-Man 3, he was like, at first he was like, I'm not signing on unless like I don't have to do any of the stunts and I get paid more or something like that. And then they worked that out. That almost stopped production. And then he did it again. And it was like, I'm not working unless you have a doctor on site here at all times because of my back.
Bro, Jake Gyllenhaal was almost Spider-Man.
Yeah, and it was funny. The documentary that I was watching about Tobey Maguire, they were like, yeah, he complained one time, and then they started talking about Jake Gyllenhaal, and so they solved it, and then he complained again, and then they started talking about Jake Gyllenhaal again, and then Tobey Maguire
was like, I want this, and they were like, we'll just call Jake Gyllenhaal.
Yeah. And then they end up in a movie together a couple years later in 2013 called Brothers. Where
I forgot about that.
Yeah. And I was just like, that's an insane arc. Like,
that is insane. But let's get to it. 2021 comic book movies ranked. We got 7 of them. We're going to start at the bottom. We'll work to the top.
There you go.
Since we were talking the Spider-Man universe, let's stay with that shit. Coming in at 7. We got Venom, Let There Be Carnage. Now, to my understanding, you did not see this film.
I did not.
Now, I'm confident putting it here after having seen it in the theater. It's not that it's bad, and it's wildly entertaining. Visuals are stunning. The CGI is incredible. Woody Harrelson's performance as Carnage is fucking awesome, and I love Tom Hardy as Venom. But Venom movies, it's basically that's all you're getting. You're gonna have fun. Just know that.
Right.
It doesn't go much beyond that. Story wise, it's kind of lacking.
Well, that was an interesting direction. I mean, when they came out with the first Venom one, I was like, and especially because at that point, because Venom came out, the first one came out before Homecoming even came out, right?
Yes, I believe so. Or no, it would have been like a year after the same year.
Oh, okay. Yeah, but I was just like, why would they pick Venom? Because I mean, I felt like Venom's a cool character, but usually only in light of Spider-Man, and they're taking it there, of course. And everyone always knew that you have to. You
have to eventually, but that's what was interesting about Venom: Let There Be Carnage. In the post-credit scene, we see this orange ring fly around him, and he's dropped into a new hotel room in Mexico. He's looking at the screen, and it's J. Jonah Jameson. Spider-Man. Here's the kicker, folks. Spider-Man is Peter Parker. And Venom licks the screen and stuff, and it's like, dope, finally. And spoilers for No Way Home here. Venom shows up in the post-credit scene and fucking dips back to his reality, but, a little bit stays behind. Which I think will eventually get the symbiote suit in this MCU Spider-Man universe. But that's the... Like, whenever people talk about Venom: Let There Be Carnage, that's typically what they point to. Is a post-credit
scene.
So it's like
what happened in the actual movie?
No, yeah. Like, it's like it's a battle between Carnage and Venom. It's really interesting though, because it's like kind of formatted like a romantic comedy between Tom Hardy's Eddie Brock and Venom. Like this, they get into an argument, they break up temporarily, and Venom goes about the city doing his own fucking thing. Eddie Brock's doing his own fucking thing, and then they have to find their way back together and reconcile, and it's a happy ending, and they fight Carnage together, and that's kind of like the general idea of the movie. Yeah. And it's wildly entertaining, and it's funny, but only so much I'm gonna get out of that rom-com type of situation.
And so is Venom made by Sony?
Yes.
So Sony and Marvel, I guess, don't love each other but work together for the good of more money.
I think so.
That's the because they still own Spider-Man, right?
I don't know all the.
I think it's like they lease the rights to Marvel because they're like, we want them in the MCU because that's where Spider-Man's a major character.
Well, it's just crazy the way that they're like, how legit is all of this contract shit? If what we've been seeing is happening. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, okay, So y'all can do this.
Yeah.
So y'all can do whatever the fuck you want.
I think
is that what I'm hearing?
It's the word of some lawyers. That's all it really is. It's just some lawyers somewhere in a boardroom fantasizing about how much money they possibly could be losing by not owning a certain percentage of whatever movie is being made.
I'm a really good lawyer. No Way Home reference. Out of context.
I was like, oh, you're a lawyer.
I'm a really good lawyer.
What else are you?
No, Venom 2, it's solid, but it belongs it belongs towards the bottom of this list here.
Fair enough.
Coming in at number 6, Marvel Studios' Black Widow. Now, did you see this one?
So, yes and no. It more of it played in the background sort of thing.
I feel that.
We sat down to watch it, and it was just a little too late, and I fell asleep.
No, I get you. And it'll be reflected in this, obviously. 1 through 7, the bottom 2 movies are the ones that you have not seen.
Yeah.
Luckily, I have, so I got this shit. Black Widow. It's for my money, it's a lot better than people have been giving it credit for. People have been kind of like, I've seen it put in that camp with like Catwoman and Ben Affleck's Daredevil and 2017's
Ben
Justice
Affleck's
League.
Daredevil is not bad. I love Ben Affleck's Daredevil. I was just a wee kid.
You were a wee lad.
I haven't seen that movie in a long time, but man, I thought Daredevil was so cool.
Oh, I thought he was a badass too, but the movie's not great. It's all right. It's all right, but it's like Black Widow is a better movie than it. Yeah. It doesn't deserve to be down there with that tier. I've seen people say that like Taskmaster is one of the worst MCU villains of all time. Well, newsflash, fucko. Taskmaster isn't even the actual villain in the movie. So, did you watch? It's just like I don't know like what people want. Like it's just a really good satisfying story about a woman taking down a human trafficking ring where a misogynist pig is controlling women. What's not to like here?
That'll sell.
And it was fucking good. You know, I love Natasha Romanoff's Black Widow and the introduction of Yelena Belova, as we've seen her in Hawkeye recently, and the rest of Natasha's family growing up with the Red Guardian played by David Harbour and her mother played by Rachel Weisz, and I think it's a better movie than people give it credit for.
Okay. I mean, I'm okay with that analysis. It's just it's hard to because it's not like they're going to be doing any more Black Widow movies, I assume.
Exactly.
And it feels like everyone was wondering where this Black Widow movie was 4 or 5 years ago. You know? And
she absolutely deserved a movie earlier.
Yeah.
Yeah. This movie should have came much earlier.
It was the first of the. It was the first one after Endgame. Am I right?
Actually, the first one after Endgame was Spider-Man: Far From Home, and then Black Widow. Yeah, been a while since Endgame.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's wild.
Well, because there wasn't a single Marvel movie in 2020.
Yeah.
So the 2019, the last movie of 2019 was Spider-Man: Far From Home.
I got you. Interesting. Yeah, we were supposed to be getting a lot of other shit by now, and it all kind of got pushed back a year.
Bro, WandaVision, I will never get over the fact that WandaVision and Multiverse of Madness at one point were supposed, like the last episode of WandaVision was supposed to release. And then a week later, Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness was supposed to come out.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
So it's like...
Why did they put off Multiverse of Madness so long?
Well, now they've done like 3 or 4 weeks of reshoots the last few weeks to insert characters that weren't available during during COVID and stuff. Like it's basically just like people couldn't be on set, so they couldn't get the movie done.
Well, that's unfortunate. I'm excited. Doctor Strange. We'll talk about Doctor Strange.
We'll talk about that later. That's for later in the show. But yeah, Black Widow. It's a solid movie. Not like a ton of fun, I wouldn't say like Venom Let There Be Carnage is like an objectively fun movie.
Mm-hmm.
Black Widow more often than not will make you a little sad.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of got to. Like,
because, you know, she's dead.
Yeah, she died awful fast. And honestly, this Hawkeye...
I'm ready to talk about that later, too, but... I'm really liking Hawkeye, buddy. I'm really liking Hawkeye. But,
I agree. I agree with what you're saying. Yeah, I need to really sit down and I feel it's really nice. You know, my life has opened up again for a few weeks, and hopefully for most of next semester too. You know?
Hell yeah!
And it'll be a lot nicer to like watch a lot of the shit that I just know that I missed.
You just haven't had the time to get around to. I feel you. I feel you. But let's get to the top 5. You know, those were kind of the semi-honorable mentions for the top 5.
Yeah.
But here we arrive. And coming in at number 5, Marvel Studios' Eternals.
And oddly enough, we're going to kind of juxtapose the Eternals with
our number 4 movie.
Our number 4, Suicide Squad, which seem like very different movies.
Very, very different.
And they are. I think that they're marketed in different ways, and that they're written in different ways, and they're the problem is, I think people are looking for, I mean, at least going into it, my expectations were of the opposite of what each of these movies actually turned out to be. Like with the Eternals, I thought it was going to be like, I didn't think it was going to be as solemn as it was. I thought it was going to be more trying to, like, I don't know, engage a younger audience.
Like a Guardian sort of vein?
Yeah, like a Guardian sort of vein. Something that Marvel typically does. Like, Marvel typically has a lot of pretty good humor.
Yeah.
And there was a point there where I would watch a Marvel movie and I was like, why am I laughing so much? Like, and that would be the thing of every Marvel movie. I'm like, the comedy is so slight, but really effective. And the Eternals was nothing like other Marvel movies, but the Suicide Squad was nothing like other DC movies, particularly the other DC Suicide Squads.
Yeah, right. No, it is really interesting because, like, we were talking about this off mic, and Chloe Zhao has been on record and saying, like, one of her biggest influences in creating Eternals was watching Zack Snyder's Man of Steel.
Mm-hmm.
So if there's ever, like, feels of, like, a sort of, like, the darker sort of, like, questioning the superheroes as gods sort of vibe that Zack Snyder always got out in his DC films, you feel that in Eternals, and Eternals reminds me more of a DC film, while the Suicide Squad reminds me more of what a typical MCU film is like.
Right.
I mean, takes the gore up to another level, and the raunchiness. And
that's the thing that's missing in Marvel a lot of the times for me, and I'm like, this is... I was even just thinking about this in terms of, like, and I get it, you know. I was thinking about this in terms of playing a video game. Like, I was playing Need for Speed, and I was like, the music on here is so, it would be so much better if, like, this wasn't marketed to kids. Like, if they could actually put, like, curse words in songs.
Right.
Make it so much, if they could do shit, if Marvel could make as much money as they can doing... like making family movies while making movies like what the Suicide Squad was, I'm sure they do it, but you just can't. But that feels missing to me as a viewer, you know.
Well, and you know, there's the potentiality that we do get a little bit more of that vibe with the introduction of Deadpool
and Blade.
Yeah, like there's a good chance that we might be heading a little. And frankly, the Marvel Cinematic Universe is maturing in a way.
Yeah.
You know, with Eternals, we get our first MCU sex scene, which is like maybe we're getting to the point where we're kind of marketing towards a little bit older of an audience.
Yeah.
But I do think it'll be interesting whenever, you know, more characters like Deadpool, and we're going in so many different creative directions in the Marvel universe that it's like, you kind of got to let creators do what they want to do if you want a product that's satisfying to the viewer. Like, you don't want, like, you're putting out so much shit. It better not all feel the same.
Yeah, right. Yeah, no, that's a fact. And I think that Marvel, like, I'm honestly in amazement at kind of what they've been able to accomplish And I don't think I respected it at first. Like, it just seemed kind of intuitive to me, but it is really remarkable how they've been able to flesh out a cinematic universe in the way that they have. I don't think it's been done to this scale ever.
No, it never has. Because, like, I mean, look at its direct competition over there. You know, DC.
Mm-hmm.
Spoilers alert for Spider-Man No Way Home. Look at what they've done here, multiversally.
Mm-hmm.
Satisfying literally every Marvel fan ever.
Yeah.
And, like, DC can hardly get their shit together for a Justice League film.
Yeah.
We don't have a second Superman movie from DC. Agatha Harkness is getting her own series in Marvel. Like, it just goes to show how much better Marvel is at it.
Yeah.
Like, the fact that they can put out all the shit, that it does attract all the viewings, because DC has arguably a better catalog of characters and cannot get their shit together.
Yeah. Honestly, they do. They do. Like, and I think they have better comics. Honestly, I enjoy, like, reading DC comics far more than I enjoy reading Marvel comics, and it's unexplainable, but also it makes a lot of sense, because I feel like the DC characters have obvious advantages over Marvel. They're more grounded characters. They're more gritty, realistic, relatable characters.
Gotcha.
And yeah, Marvel has just been able to sort of maximize the sort of, I don't know, like the realness of it all. They've been able to really situate the fantastical notions of the Marvel universe in our reality through the Marvel Cinematic Universe, you know? And they're in I think I saw something talking about how Spider-Man No Way Home takes place in MCU 2024. Have you seen that?
Yeah, it takes place in the year 2024, yeah.
And it's just like, to even be able to put together such a vast timeline of movies like that go back to the 80s. Is that when Captain Marvel was?
Captain Marvel's in the 90s, but Captain America: The First Avenger, that's 1940 2 or whatever.
42. And, like, just, like, to narrate history in their own, and that's what DC does that in a lot of ways. But they have a, like, I don't know, they have a it's weird. We're getting into, like, just, like, pure comic shit here, but just, like, the significance of how Marvel is always situated in New York or California, and DC is like they use metaphors for
Gotham
these
City, Metropolis.
Metropolis, like, and it's like these are obviously, like, I think Gotham is supposed to be Chicago, Metropolis is supposed to be New York.
I think if I'm not mistaken, Gotham City is actually supposed to be New York.
Oh, really?
And Metropolis is supposed to be Chicago,
That could be true.
with like Central City operating as like a smaller market version of Metropolis, so like a downtown Kansas City.
Yeah. Central
City. Kansas
no,
City.
but they have I think they have a lot of you can do a lot more creatively with that. And the Suicide Squad versus the Eternals kind of demonstrates that, I think.
Oh, certainly to a degree. You know, you get there's something to the whole fantasticalness of the Suicide Squad. You know, like, it's all very just kind of painted over, you know, like as a kind of fantastical telling of what could be an event. Right. Eternals is trying to give you a historical timeline of things that happened in the universe. And, you know, when you get the creative freedom to, you know, give us a giant star monster who is attaching...
Give us a fucking giant star monster! Because no matter what, whether you're reading Marvel comics or DC comics, that shit happens. That's the kind of shit that happens. And, like, ultimately, we should be appreciative of all of this, because, like, Marvels or comics are very, like, wide-ranging and diverse in their
absolutely
own storytelling mechanics.
I can tell you though, whenever it gets wacky as fuck, that's when I love it the most.
That's when I love it. Yeah.
Yeah, like that's the most exciting Marvel gets is whenever it's like, or not Marvel, but superhero storytelling gets is whenever it's like, yo, what the fuck is going on?
I think that Eternal, or not just Eternals, but Marvel itself has gotten so wrapped up in its own world, and yet the world is so conflated with our own that when it's giving social commentary, when it's saying something meaningful about the real world in its subtle ways, Marvel can't do it in a way that is as serious as DC can, because it feels sort of self-congratulatory in a way when Marvel does it. It's like, see, we're talking about this social issue. We are engaging this thing that's happening in the world because this world is a replica of the real world, right? And it feels like, you know, they're I don't know, they don't have to really say anything about it. They just kind of have to
say it.
Say it. Yeah. Versus DC, like with both Zack Snyder's Justice League and the Suicide Squad film, I think that they're saying really dense things about the world, and not in any way where it's like, this is something that we need to be seeing. It's not, I guess, prescribing anything. It's like actually raising questions.
Yeah.
Like I remember our episode about Suicide Squad being pretty, I don't know, it got pretty deep in a way, which is wild to say about a movie like Suicide Squad.
Yeah, you know, we got into like the very essence of revolution and shit like that, and how you portray it on screen. You must be careful, you know, because it can go bad real quick, like it did in the Suicide Squad.
Yeah, no, and I just don't see those same sort of insights with a movie like The Eternals.
Okay, that's interesting. I think there's some insights in Eternals that are posed that are actually in a way more elevated than a lot of other Marvel movies, like Druig's whole conundrum, where if he could stop the violence at any given point, like why would he? Like why wouldn't he? You know, but then he realizes, you know, the humanity is the choice.
Well, you see, but why does Druig feel like a side character almost in terms of the core Eternals? Like I feel like he didn't get the most screen time.
No, I don't think he did either. But you know, like
and the who was the one the fast girl,
Makari.
I feel like she was really interesting as a character too, but she felt underdeveloped as hell.
She that one's one that she did not get a lot of fledging out on screen at all. It was just kind of like she was bored now, and she kind of has a thing with Druig. We'll save that for later, though. You know, like that kind of, and that's kind of the fault of Eternals, is that like you don't get enough of each character to really, really appreciate what they're about.
Well, you can't. And I mean, I'm wondering if maybe it's a marketing strategy. Maybe it is. They're introducing all new characters. What if they are just trying to be like, which ones stick? Which ones do people like?
Yeah. I can see that.
But like, cause I don't know. I know that they're gonna have Eternals is gonna have some implications down the line, but what implications are they? Is it gonna be about the Eternals as a whole? Is it gonna be some specific Eternals? Yeah, I don't know. There's a lot. I don't know. I'm just, I guess, interested in the direction of
the potentiality of those characters and where they could go.
Yeah. And so, like, I don't know. The things that are interesting the most to me about Eternals, though, are just about its role in the MCU versus the Suicide Squad. Feels like a movie. It just feels like a more traditional movie, I guess, in a way.
And I will say this might be like what we were talking about earlier, to MCU's credit, of building a universe that's so vast and stuff. It can also be immediately turned around to be worked to its discredit, as the most interesting things about Eternals are what it could do for the universe.
Yeah.
And instead of focusing on itself as a movie.
Yeah.
You know, and I think it's doing too much of trying to explain shit, like mechanics wise of the universe, that it can't quite get to the point where it tells you a complete and compelling story all the way through, with well thought out and drawn out characters who are fledged out properly. They just
but I mean, I think 4 and 5 are very close.
Oh yeah, they're not. It's not like a landslide or anything there. That, like, I was thinking at the beginning of this, they're kind of interchangeable for me. Eternals and the Suicide Squad. I really enjoy watching both movies. The Suicide Squad's one of those ones that's a lot more fun. Yeah. And Eternals is one that'll get you a little bit more down. But so I'll take the fun over that anytime. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, definitely.
On to 3. One that makes that fun and that sorrow a little bit kind of meet in the middle. Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings.
Shang-Chi.
This was this was one of my favorite movies of the year, and I didn't think it would be topped in terms of like a pure enjoyment level in terms of superhero movies. Yeah. Until we got what we got. Yeah. This past weekend. I love Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings.
Yeah, no, I enjoy that movie too. You saw it how many times in theater?
I saw it 3 times in theater.
3 times.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not at home, in theater.
In theater. Saw Spider-Man No Way Home twice so far. And I saw Eternals 3 times. So yeah, I stayed in the movie theater for the Marvel movies this year, to be sure. But yeah, Shang-Chi, just, it had one of the more compelling stories. For me, the most compelling story of any of the Marvel movies we've named so far: Eternals, Black Widow, and Venom. Let There Be Carnage. It's just so obviously a cut above for me. I don't know how exactly to articulate it. Yeah, but it
felt like a really good character introduction, and one of the only, I guess. Yeah, one of the only true character introductions that Marvel has.
Yeah, solo origin movie this year.
Yeah. And I mean, like, they did that for the Eternals, but they also did it for, like, 9 characters in the Eternals.
Yeah, Eternals is a group movie and not so focused narrowly on Shang-Chi, which is why Shang-Chi benefits quite a bit, because you get a really, really full story with him and the story of him and his father and his sister. And Kate even was a huge part. Like, it's just a fucking good movie.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I can't wait for that to come out on Disney Plus. I imagine it will at some point.
It will rather soon, if I remember correctly. Okay. Or wait, no, it's out on Disney Plus.
It is?
Yes. I've watched it on Disney Plus several times. I don't know why. Eternals will be out rather soon on Disney Plus. Okay. But Shang-Chi's been out for a little bit over a month.
Oh, shit. Okay. Yeah. I haven't noticed.
But yeah, that movie fucking rocks. I've watched it I watched it 3 times in theaters, and I think I've seen it at least 10 times now.
Seriously?
Just because like there for a little bit, like when it first dropped on Disney Plus, it was just like we don't have anything to watch. What are we going to turn on? We'll turn on Shang-Chi just to put it on. Yeah. Whatever happened, like we might watch it, we might not.
Yeah.
It doesn't really fucking matter. Right. But I really, really fucking love that movie. And if you want more thoughts on Shang-Chi, head to our episode on Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings a few weeks back. It was, or I guess, a few months back now. Jesus. Yeah, 3 months ago.
September?
That's crazy.
Was that September?
Yeah.
That was September?
Yeah.
September? What?
Yeah, that shit's crazy. That's 3 months ago. Goddamn. Like, Venom Let There Be Carnage was more recent than Shang-Chi.
Wait, what the fuck?
Yeah. Shang-Chi came out a whole month before Venom Let There Be Carnage.
Yeah, most of the movies really came out the second half of the year.
Yeah, save for Zack Snyder's Justice League.
Yeah. And that movie was already made.
Yeah, exactly. It was.
He's just like, this is what I wanted to do the whole time.
Yeah.
I know it's wild. It's going to do well.
And with that, let's go to number 2. Zack Snyder's Justice League. It's about as good a superhero movie as you can possibly get.
Yeah.
Its only fault is its lack of rewatchability, and that it is 4 hours long.
Yeah, if they could have done something as grand as Like, because I mean, I imagine that when they started thinking about Infinity War and Avengers versus Thanos, they're like, we just can't. This is too much for one.
It's got to be a
movie.
2-part movie.
And
now obviously there's a whole bunch of like studio head shit behind that for Warner Brothers, a little bit more than there was for DC. I mean, than there was for Marvel, because it seems like the Marvel board actually enjoys when they make movies. Meanwhile, Warner Brothers seems like they do everything they can to not put a DC movie out.
Yeah. Particularly a Justice League movie.
Particularly anything that has to do with Zack Snyder.
What is the? Do you know what the beef?
Dude, I'm not a huge Snyder guy, and I'm not like, I can't stand the Snyder cultists on Twitter who think that Zack Snyder is fucking God, like the second coming. He's a messianic figure of some sort. But dude, he makes objectively good DC movies. You know what I'm saying? He does really, really good. And so like the whole beef there, I'm not entirely informed on what the fuck happened.
Yeah,
my impression of it is that it's kind of like J.J. Abrams' Star Wars, where like movie got made. The Force Awakens got made.
Yeah.
It was met with some criticism. Disney bitched out, went and got another director for 8. That went, like, according to public opinion, even worse. And they were like, okay, fine, JJ, get back here.
Yeah.
Like, they just went back to J.J. Abrams after that. So, like, I get, like, it's kind of like that sort of thing where the studio's just wielding their power too much to be like, all right, well, then we're going to completely change the creative direction of what's going on here.
Yeah.
And that's just kind of what my outside looking in perspective of it is. But I'm not well versed in what the DC conundrum is over there and what the fuck they've got going on.
Well, I know that they need to do something that distinguishes them from Marvel, but also builds on what Marvel's successes were.
Yeah.
Like, don't be afraid to just steal some of their formula. Like, I honestly, like, because it's like, I think people just want to see.
I want to see movies. I want to see a lot of movies about DC characters. You know what I'm saying? Like,
a lot of them.
Like the way that I'm getting satisfied with Marvel content. Like, I would love if that extended to Batman and Superman and Wonder Woman and all that. But like right now, it doesn't really. You know.
Right.
And I mean the greater catalog of DC characters, which is just so vast and could be so awesome. But like.
Well, I find myself like, because for the most part, I don't really, I guess, read word for word comics, but I'll like go and I'll like listen to someone narrate comics and stuff on YouTube, and I'm always more compelled by alternate versions of DC stories and just core DC stories than I am like if somebody did fucking, and like of course they're doing this and it's in various ways now, but if somebody did an Injustice storyline, like live action, I could see that being very interesting. But
and like the other thing too is that like, so the objective, I'm gonna try and meet Warner Brothers in the middle here. It's to make money if you're a business, right?
Right.
So what's wrong with getting a renowned filmmaker that has a lot of a cult-like following to create a storyline that a lot of people are interested in live action with a lot of great actors?
Well, I think the thing is, it's the idea that they need to go find that one director. Like, Marvel isn't Marvel because of one director. Marvel isn't Marvel because of fucking. Didn't Jon Favreau direct the first?
Yeah, Jon Favreau directed Iron Man.
Jon Favreau is a goat,
dude. That man's catalog is unmatched. That dude is
directed in it, acted in it. Also, I saw something about how Jon Favreau was in Ben Affleck's Daredevil.
No shit.
He was his best friend. He was fucking what's his name?
Foggy.
Foggy. Yeah, he was Foggy. And they were like, yeah, they had to. I don't remember what they said. How they resolved there was just like some weird stuff with that when he first started working with Marvel. Like,
Foggy ain't happy, man.
Yeah, yeah, and it's like, I don't know. He did the Mandalorian. Like, man, it really is out here kind of making. I'm surprised he didn't want a bigger role in Marvel.
I'm pretty sure that like they have their like board of creatives that kind of like moves the chess pieces, you know. I'm pretty sure he's a part of that.
Yeah.
Just given like his standing in Disney Studios, like he birthed the Marvel universe as the first director in the MCU and has given Star Wars fans arguably the best content they've gotten in years. So like Disney likes Jon Favreau a lot. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. No, if Disney likes you,
you're set.
You're set for sure. No, but I mean, I'm just thinking like what they need to do with DC is figure out sort of maybe what that they need their iconic movie first of all,
right? And
then they need to figure out sort of who are those because Marvel and Disney, they grab up all those directors that people want to see shit from.
Right.
Like they grab them all up, and you would think that's an obscure category, but these are big names like Taika Waititi. They had someone do the Wonder Woman movie that was really good. I can't remember her name.
Patty Jenkins.
And then they had
Chloe Zhao do Eternals, who won Best Director at the Oscars last year.
Yeah, like they get good directors, and if DC can figure out how to, because they just some of the movies the directors just can't have been all that great. I'm sorry.
No, they just couldn't have been. Like it just and that's the other thing too though is that like I don't. At this point, when it comes to DC, I don't want to dismiss any of the creatives because I know that Warner Brothers is such a disaster. Like, they meddle with the movies so much that it's like, I don't know if this was what the director even fucking wanted. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, that's a fact. They need Quentin Tarantino. That's who they need.
Dude, if they, that's putting asses in seats. Like,
putting asses
like,
if tell me Quentin Tarantino's doing a fucking Green Lantern movie or some shit.
Bro's doing a Gotham City spinoff with a fucking Commissioner Gordon.
Yeah. Why can I see that though,
bro? Gordon's just straight up shooting motherfuckers through the head.
And you tell me Leonardo DiCaprio's playing Gordon? Right. Did you know Leonardo DiCaprio and Tobey Maguire are best friends?
Dude, they love each other. Yeah. They'd be like, Tobey Maguire is like in one of the highest circles of fame there is, which is like crazy to me.
He was like a gambling addict in the highest circle of fame that there is.
No, like he was doing people. Like high roller shit.
Yeah.
Like he was like gambling with sheiks from the Middle East. So like this man was like. He was doing shit. You know what I'm saying?
Well, like, why hasn't Tobey Maguire made a movie? He's out there getting fucked up.
He's out there fucking partying. He was probably held for ransom at some point until he could pay his debts.
His wife left him because apparently he's addicted to drugs.
Damn, bruh. Tobey Maguire's had a hard go of it.
Well, no, and then he found a girl 17 years younger.
Oh.
He has, but he hasn't. It seems like he's had, but like also... they don't gloss over the fact, and this is like literally a YouTube documentary though, and they're just like, yeah, he kind of had a rough upbringing in a lot of ways. Like,
gotcha.
Family was pretty poor, brother was in prison. It's just him and his mom basically, and so like seeing what he's done with his wealth, it's not surprising, and it's not detrimental. I think he's
obviously he's still a pretty beloved person.
Yeah, he's not a terrible person. He's just been more human in front of the cameras than other people. Yeah, right. Emblematized by the famous Tobey Maguire clip of him screaming at the paparazzi.
Yeah,
it's like, what did he say? Get out of the way, motherfucker. It's like,
get out of my fucking way, motherfucker. He just has that crazed rage in his eyes. You know he's on coke.
He's like, you fucking stay in front of the car. But it's like, honestly, I get it.
No, I do too. Like, if I was famous, I'd fucking hate paparazzi. You know what I'm saying?
I get it. So yeah, we diagnosed the DC.
But last thoughts on Zack Snyder's Justice League. Just because like we're not so entirely sure about what like DC's future is in terms of what they're gonna do with like these specific actors and these specific roles. I loved Ben Affleck as Bruce Wayne Batman. I really enjoy Henry Cavill as Clark Kent Superman. And they really, really carry that movie for me. They do, and I mean, Cyborg is just fucking fantastic in the Snyder cut.
Mm-hmm. Briefly too, I'm interested to see if DC goes the route that I think they may be with this new Robert Pattinson Batman, where they do everything that Marvel doesn't, which is make sort of like do kind of what the Joker did, which is like very good one-offs of DC characters. And that can be.
I would love that too. It's just that like they pick a lane, do one or the other. Stop trying to make the DCEU a thing, and then like being like, we'll see how it does, and then maybe it's a part of it. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like, just make it a part of it, or don't, and we'll be fine. There's like there was something the other day I saw that was like something about one of the characters in Birds of Prey, or one of the characters in the Suicide Squad, Savant, the guy at the beginning, was locked up by the Black Canary, which confirms that the Suicide Squad takes place in the same universe as Birds of Prey. Oh. And it's like, no fucking shit. Oh my god. They made two movies connect in the smallest way possible. Yeah. Holy shit. DC is crazy.
DC is wild. But yeah, because I'm definitely thinking this Batman movie is they're not gonna be able to adapt that to any other, because you're not.
Well, it sounds like they're gonna kind of like that's gonna be its own little thing too. Like there are already spin-offs in the works.
Oh, of the Batman.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Like I think they're doing a thing where like what I was kind of worried Marvel might do with the multiverse opening up, where it's like this universe for Marvel, this universe for Marvel, this universe for Marvel. I think DC is going to go ahead and try and fucking do that. Like this Batman has this whole thing going on. This group of characters, Peacemaker and the Suicide Squad has this thing going on, and so on and so forth. It's just like, you know, they got to do it right, and they don't have a good track record. So it's like...
Right. Well, yeah, I mean, I'm just saying, because this is going to be me and Batman. Like, I watched that trailer, and I was like...
Yo, I saw that trailer in the theater for No Way Home for the first time, because I hadn't seen that trailer in theaters. I'd only seen it on my fucking phone. Yeah. And, like, watching it in theaters, I was like, oh, fuck.
Yeah, the part where he was, like, beating the dude's head in, I was like...
And Zoe Kravitz is sitting there like, oh, fuck. Like, you're beating this dude's head in.
Yeah, the whole time I was thinking, so he doesn't kill, right? Or maybe he does. I don't fucking know.
I think we'll talk about that more here in a little bit. We'll talk about that more here in a little bit. But Zack Snyder's Justice League.
That motherfucker would be dead.
Yeah, pretty sure this motherfucker's killing people. But with that, Zack Snyder's Justice League rocks, and it's number 2 on the year. Yeah. And with that, number 1 should be no surprise to anybody here, with Spider-Man No Way Home. And we know it's brand new, so we'll try our best to spoil the shit out of it. Get the fuck out of here if you haven't watched it. It's everything you wanted. From what we were told this could be, it was like, well, that better be fucking true now.
Yeah, better be fucking true.
Or else y'all are going to be in some shit.
It's like, I swear to God, I saw him walking on a set. He's walking on a set.
Yep.
What set is it? We don't know.
He's walking onto a set. Oh, there are leaks.
I wonder if movies do that. They'll be like, this movie is called Black and White, coming out in 2023. And it's actually...
They do that.
Yeah.
Do. Star Wars, actually, the sequel to... I think it was The Empire Strikes Back or Return of the Jedi. It was called, like, Blue Harvest or something like that.
Yeah.
Like, was the
code
name.
So people didn't know when they were recording.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, so
filming.
This shit fucking blew me away. I absolutely love this movie. And I do get that it may have started a bit slow. And it does take a second to really get to the point. But it needed to start slow.
So, I mean, no doubts about it. I think that this is the grandest and most delivered on Spider-Man movie. And they only grew in terms of that, and I feel like it offered a really good conclusion. But yeah, it was just kind of at the beginning. I was like, well, you just feel sort of shaky about this whole thing, because even seeing Dr. Octavius on screen, just seeing a lot of these things on screen is kind of jarring to you as a viewer.
Yeah.
Because you're just kind of like, y'all are dealing in like big shit here, all right? Like, what's your plan with all of this? Is it going to be meaningful for your story as well as the stories that outlie all of these characters that you're just bringing in?
Right.
And for the most part, it does that. And I think that, villains wise, it's they do a really good job paying attention to the story of
the movies that came before.
The movies that came before, and that they had nothing to do with, but they just kind of pick up on it. And
I'm really encouraged by that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like in terms of what the treatment of the multiverse will be
mm-hmm.
Going forward. Like if we do, and I don't know how they'll manage like X-Men cameos in Multiverse of Madness, which there are already rumors that's coming. Like Hugh Jackman and Charles Xavier is like Patrick Stewart and shit. Like,
wait, they're bringing them into
like for cameos in Multiverse of Madness potentially.
Okay.
And it's like kind of interesting, like how they like if they even try to address it, like story wise.
Yeah.
Like how do you manage that? Like how do you maintain the story whenever the X-Men catalog itself doesn't really have a great structure to it? Like you can't really find a continuity. There's a loose one, but it's not like
there's a very loose continuity to X-Men. That's kind of, honestly, DC could look at X-Men for an example of what it could be like to build a sort of cool sporadic universe. But
that's a good point.
Yeah, no, I see what you're saying though about that.
I will say, I think what's really, really cool about Spider-Man No Way Home is we get the guys we grew up with back as Spider-Man. I never got to watch
mm-hmm.
Tobey Maguire in theaters as Spider-Man.
Mm-hmm.
I got that, you know, and I grew up with him as Spider-Man, so that was just fucking surreal. I did see Andrew Garfield Spider-Man in theaters, you know. 2012, I was like, I was there. We built the shit.
Really? Andrew Garfield was one that I watched the least, I think. And I really like The Amazing Spider-Man 2.
I do too.
The Amazing Spider-Man 1 was alright. But The Amazing Spider-Man 2 really stuck with me. But that movie got kind of bad reviews as far as I remember.
Yeah, and I think we're about to witness a little bit of a more forgiving light on the Amazing
mm-hmm.
Spider-Man movies, just because I think that Andrew Garfield's, like, for my money, Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man in this movie really really shines. Like you can really feel like the passion that the actor has for the character a little bit, like
mm-hmm.
through his performance, in a way that I don't think
well,
go ahead. I was gonna say in a way that I don't think Tobey Maguire really emulated in this very movie. However, it's a different Peter, you know, like they continued their characters perfectly.
Well, and I think we may have said once upon a time something about Tobey Maguire being the best Spider-Man, Andrew Garfield being the best part of Peter Parker.
Part of Peter.
Part of Peter.
That's fucking funny.
Tom Holland being the best combination of the two. And I mean, I think that kind of does make sense because I enjoy. I don't know. I look to them in sort of stereotypical roles immediately when they're introduced because you're like, oh, you got the OG, you've got the one that started kind of flustered compared to these two,
right?
And then you've got Tom Holland, the up and coming one, and so he's trying to. And they feed right. This is all fan service, right? And it's done beautifully. They're like, he's going to learn.
It's the most well executed fan service I've ever seen in my life.
Like he's going to learn from this Spider-Man from your childhood. Like that's fucking amazing. Like
like the way that it works out. You know, like you can now, in theory, watch Spider-Man 1, 2, 3, The Amazing Spider-Man 1 and 2. Spider-Man Homecoming, Far From Home, and No Way Home, and it'll play as a saga, which is like obviously not like a perfect saga. It's not like every single bit of the first few movies is wrapped, like the first 5 movies is wrapped up.
Right.
But like, regardless, you're sitting pretty satisfied with where like how the villains get something of a redemption and how Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man gets quite the redemption in No Way Home that just put a smile on my face whenever MJ's like, "Are you all right?" And he's already crying. He's like,
exactly, exactly. But that's what I'm saying. I'm like, I feel like they can. They were able to highlight those aspects of the characters that endeared them to us, and shine it on that. Like whether or not they do another Andrew Garfield Spider-Man, the No Way Home is successful because it shows you what you did enjoy about Andrew Garfield Spider-Man, which was the emotional resonance of particularly The Amazing Spider-Man 2 to me. I'll just say that one because I just think that movie was a really hard hitter.
Oh, I really, really like that movie, dude.
That movie was it was a good, just like between Gwen and
it was just a good love story.
Like it was just a good love story, like throughout. I guess sort of and the funny thing about Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man.
Oh, great! It's just some guy.
Is that that's funny? It seems like his role in the movie is kind of similar to his role in life, where he comes back and they're like, "Oh, you were great, you were amazing, and we respect you." But man, like you just they kind of make fun of him in a couple places.
Oh, I mean they make fun of Toby and Andrew both pretty hard, I think.
Yeah.
The whole like Peter 3, like of course you would think I'm the third Peter, because it is typically regarded, Toby and Tom have the best movies, and Andrew just kind of caught the short end of the stick, And I think they break the interesting thing about this movie for me is that like in a medium movies where you're like supposed to be in the world, nothing's supposed to pull you out. This movie is full of stuff that pulls you out. Like literally all of these other characters showing up is you connecting them to other movies that were not previously connected and going, oh shit, that's from this. Oh shit, that's from this. And like, you're not really supposed to do that during movies.
Yeah.
However, if it's executed properly, as it was here, and now I feel like I could watch all the Spider-Man movies and feel satisfied. You know what I'm saying? No,
that's a really cool thing that they've done there. I really enjoyed the little quip too, where they were making fun of Tobey Maguire for having organic web shooters,
dude,
which was a thing that I never had really consciously thought about from the original.
That shit comes out of him.
Yeah. They're just like, you don't need web shooters. He's like, dude, like these are like.
Oh, what is that?
Where else does it come out?
Yeah. So is that like the only place it comes out of? You guys and like their interactions, like it's what you dreamed of, like seeing them three together. Like, what are some of the craziest guys you fought? And it's like, well, you've met some of them. And Tobey Maguire's like, I fought an alien once made of black goo, and Tom's like, oh yeah, I fought an alien up in space, and he was like big and purple, and he wanted stones, and Andrew's like, man, I'm lame. I've never fought an alien. I'd like to fight an alien. I'm still on the fact that you fought an alien in space.
Yeah, no, I was like, are they just gonna kind of like, because like I'm thinking about sort of.
I don't mean to brag, but I was in the Avengers.
I want to talk about sort of what this movie sets up, though, because it is far more exciting than it's like we are going to be reintroduced to Spider-Man, and they're not doing that because this latest version of Spider-Man failed. For once, they're doing it because it's going to be that much better.
Well, and what's interesting is they did it in a really natural way.
Yeah,
that like I didn't anticipate it. Like. I wanted to leave this movie with the, like, when I say this movie was legitimately everything I wanted, like going into the movie, I thought about everything I wanted, and then they literally did every single fucking thing. Like no, like at the end, like I'm going into this movie thinking like, man, I really want this movie to end with Peter Parker in a dump ass apartment by himself, making his own suit, doing his own It's the exact ending of the fucking movie.
And then I didn't even go into it thinking about that because I was so like not expecting them to do a traditional Spider-Man story that I was caught off guard when they went the direction of traditional Spider-Man, which is, you know, the apartment making.
And they did it in like the most like. You tell me in the Tobey and Andrew era, we're gonna get a Spider-Man who gets his identity erased from existence by a wizard named Doctor Strange, and then he'll become the Spider-Man you know. It's like, what the fuck are you talking about right now?
And it provides, because it's all my simple question was, how are they going to age Tom Holland's Spider-Man? Because the motherfucker seems young, and I get Tom Holland's growing as an actor. He started out, he was kind of young. But it's just like, how are they going to make him not feel like a teenager anymore to me? And they do that by deleting his history to everyone else and then having him still be there so that he can be like, yeah, none of you all remember me, but I was there when we fought Thanos. Like,
yeah.
And I'm wondering what they're going to do about, because like people remember Spider-Man.
Yeah, the way Happy Hogan was like, how'd you know her? And he says, through Spider-Man. And he goes like, me too.
Yeah.
It's like, and then like, how are MJ and Ned still friends?
Yeah, right. Like, I'm interested in how they're going to do all of that. But it makes you feel as if he is back where Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man started. Yeah. Kind of. And this is at the end of the first arc of his character development, and that's a really good. This
is the prequel trilogy.
Yeah, it's the prequel trilogy.
Yeah,
and nobody really realized that's what we were getting. I don't think anybody. Really
No, I don't like because I talked about this on the Spider-Man No Way Home episode just this past Friday. If you haven't listened to it, go check it out. But like what we typically think of as Spider-Man's origin story, you know, he gets bit by the spider, Uncle Ben dies. With great power comes great responsibility. Go be Spider-Man.
Yeah.
We thought we skipped that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
You know, like we come into Homecoming and it's like that's already happened. He is Spider-Man.
Yeah, and then they're like,
and then it's like, no, he's just been bit by the fucking spider. This whole fucking trilogy is his origin story, and it's like, oh my fucking god! Like as soon as I finish No Way Home, it immediately enhances the shit out of Homecoming and Far From Home. And I already loved those movies.
Oh, yeah.
So it was just like, holy fucking shit, this just couldn't have gone a better way.
Yeah, no, they were very well thought out. And I think from the beginning they've been saying that they want Spider-Man to be a big character in the next phase of Marvel movies. And I was always like, I mean, I get that, but I don't see him as like a leader in the MCU or by any means.
Oh, now it's like nobody knows who the fuck he is. So
nobody
like,
knows
he'll
who
just
the fuck he is, and he's been like he has. I think he's had one of the most like important art. Like he's dealt with shit that is
pressing to the
very pressing.
Yeah, like the multiverse.
Yeah.
That's about to be a big fucking problem.
Yeah.
What is interesting about this spell, where everyone on the world forgets who Peter Parker is, since these runes wrapped around Earth, there is one very important line in this movie that makes me go,
What's that?
Nick Fury's been off planet for a year.
Mm-hmm.
If everyone in the world forgets who Peter Parker is and the runes wrap around Earth, does anyone who is off planet still remember who Peter Parker is?
That would be such a cool way to bring Nick Fury back. Like, because when he comes back, he's got to come back and like know more than he's supposed to know. Like, he's got to come back and like not
elevated his fucking game.
Be like come back and already be 3 steps ahead in order to be like, so I see what you did here.
Yeah, exactly.
Good job. You should have done this.
Yeah, exactly. No, and like so, like I thought about that, and like Captain Marvel in Endgame. Hey, Peter Parker, I'll take that, and she takes the Infinity Gauntlet from him. She's off world. She'll still know who Peter Parker is. Thor should still know who Peter Parker is. Like, there are still tons of characters who know who Peter Parker is. Yeah. They're just not on Earth.
Yeah, that's fair.
And that's what's interesting, though, is because it's like, will that ever be relevant? Probably not. The only place where it could be is probably Nick Fury. And even that, I see them kind of not distancing Tom Holland from the rest of the MCU, but like for a time, really, really doing a solo thing with him.
Yeah. No, and I think that they should, because whatever iteration of the Avengers they do next, he's probably going to be involved.
Oh, I
think
assume
that's what
so.
people want. We got him there at the end, but the whole time that the Avengers were around, people were like, "But where's Spider-Man?" And they were like, "Sony's got him. Sorry."
We'll get to it later.
We'll try. And then they did it.
No, yeah. I read something somewhere recently that like there was some sort of contract stipulation that prevented the MCU from using Uncle Ben.
Really?
Which is why there's like never so much as a mention of his name.
Huh. Yeah.
Like, cause that's weird.
Yeah.
You know, like that makes me think like, oh, so it has to be a legal thing. If his name is never even mentioned, they never even say Uncle Ben or Ben Parker until No Way Home when it's Tobey Maguire's saying it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So like, I wonder if it was like until this movie there was some sort of contract stipulation that was like, y'all can't do any of this shit.
Yeah. Maybe they're real technical about that.
Right.
But I do want to say, Doctor Strange, Benedict Cumberbatch is Doctor Strange. Like, I don't know what it is. Benedict Cumberbatch is probably top 3 actor right now. Period.
Dude, love that dude.
Like, period. Like, I don't know anyone else who he is Sherlock. Like, he is Sherlock Holmes. He is also Doctor Strange. So there was a moment where he was doing the spell there, and I was like, I don't even have extensive experience with Doctor Strange, but this is Doctor Strange. Like, there's no one else
fucking
could
nailed
be
it.
Him. It had to be Benedict Cumberbatch.
No, yeah, like he's in that pantheon of like RDJ as Iron Man.
Yeah,
like that just fucking
like
fits.
you can't see anyone else.
That's just the way it had to be. Samuel L. Jackson as Nick
Chris
Fury.
Evans had to be Captain America.
I mean, shit.
And
I'm
honestly,
trying to think. J. Jonah Jameson has to be. J.K. Simmons.
J.K. Simmons has to be J. Jonah Jameson. Yeah. No, that's. What did they do about that?
My guess is that, like,
that's so funny.
You remember in Loki, like variants can look like you.
Yeah, that's true.
So like, I think they were just going with that.
Yeah. But I wonder if they were thinking about, because they've had J. Jonah Jameson in it the whole time.
He popped up at the end of Far From Home.
Well, he hadn't been in it before then.
No, yeah, like him popping up at the end of Far From Home, being like, "And this is the kicker, folks." It was supposed to be like, "Oh shit,
yeah,
it's J. Jonah Jameson."
Which would, I don't. That was probably good that they didn't introduce the. Or I don't know. I don't know what implications that would have had for Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man, because that would mean that they're in the same universe if they had introduced the multiverse by the time that they had shown that scene.
Yeah, right.
But then the multiverse would also account for that actually not being Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man, it actually just being Jonah Jameson.
Yeah.
In a different.
Yeah, exactly. No, it's all very confusing.
So ultimately, they're never going to explain it.
No, they won't.
They don't
it's
need
just
to.
They don't need to. But yeah, Spider-Man: No Way Home. That's the top comic book movie of 2021 for my money, and there's just no doubt about it.
Oh yeah, and I mean the thing is, like, it's not even have any of the. I don't know, actually. I don't think it. I feel like Marvel movies in general kind of stray from the comics like a lot more. I don't. Think like when I think of DC stories, I think of what comic story are they going to be telling in this particular DC movie? With the Marvel movies, like
they're weird. They're usually adapted with a few stark changes.
Right. Like the Civil War comics, radically different than the Civil War movie.
Right.
Yeah.
No, yeah, like they more take the story and name, or take elements of the story and then plug it into a completely different story. Like Doctor Strange erasing Peter Parker is a comic book story that has happened in the comics. Usually leads into a Mephisto story arc that we probably won't be getting here.
Mephisto. That's funny.
Well, yeah.
Well,
yeah.
You want
to
talk about some shows?
Let's talk about some shows if you want. Yeah, so 2021 was loaded. The MCU absolutely dominated 2021 with WandaVision, The Falcon and the Winter Soldier, Loki, What If, and the ongoing Hawkeye. They're doing really, really fucking good with this shit. The TV shows are really, really awesome.
They're doing phenomenal with the Marvel TV shows, and I'm utterly surprised that they've been able to extend on the movies in meaningful ways with these TV shows while not, I guess, forgetting that they are still adding to the MCU. People are looking for them to add to the MCU.
Right. No, yeah, I feel you for sure. I think that and they're adding in really, really meaningful ways. WandaVision enhanced. After you watch WandaVision, go watch Age of Ultron, Civil War, Infinity War again, because you'll love Wanda and Vision's story in that. You know what I'm saying? Loki enhances all of Loki's appearances, and then Falcon and the Winter Soldier, Sam and fucking Bucky have been elevated like fucking crazy because of that. Oh, yeah. And far and away, the most elevating a show has been for any character for me is Hawkeye, just because I never fucked with Hawkeye, and now I fuck with Hawkeye.
Fair enough. I mean, Falcon and the Winter Soldier are kind of like that for me because I never fucked with either of them, and now I definitely fuck with them. I actually did not like Falcon
no shit.
For a long time. I just was like, what? Oh, is this Captain America's black best friend?
Oh, he's got guy with wings.
Yeah, I was just like, who the fuck even why? And honestly, I didn't like the actor. What's his name?
Anthony Mackie.
Yeah,
he's grown a lot as an actor though in recent years.
I think he's grown too. He seemed like a cookie cutter Shield person. I don't know. He seemed like fucking the girl who plays Robin in How I Met Your Mother.
Oh,
he felt like her character, kind of this standard Shield character in Marvel.
Gotcha.
And not really.
Well, and that is kind of the danger of introducing characters as, for me, introducing characters as federal agents and military men.
Yeah.
Because it immediately puts them in a place where I'm like the reasons you like Spider-Man and Iron Man and stuff is because they're not directly tied to the U.S. government. I mean, right. Stark was a little bit, but. I guess that's a personal beef with the the United States in general thing, but that's part of why I never fucked with Hawkeye. You know, that dude's a Fed.
Yeah,
and it's clear.
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't know. I wouldn't call him a Fed necessarily. He is a government weapon. I think he's probably more against the government, though. What side was he on in Civil War?
He was, yes, he was, and he was on the side of Cap. Yeah, he was on Cap's side.
Yeah.
So that makes sense.
He's cutthroat.
He's cutthroat. That's for sure.
Which, honestly, enhancing Hawkeye a lot.
No, that's the thing. Is that I wouldn't have what you said. He's a government weapon.
Yeah.
I'm with that a lot more after watching Hawkeye.
Oh.
You know, you get a much more sympathetic view of him and him expressing how he feels about what he's gone through, because all we've seen is shit happen to him.
Right.
We haven't seen how he's handled any of it besides going on a murder spree. And it's okay, well, I'm going to go off on a limb here and say that wasn't the right move.
Yeah.
And now you see him in a little bit better light here in Hawkeye.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it kind of shows, one, it's I really like having Kate Bishop there because it's sort of the things that seem for Kate Bishop insurmountable tasks where you're like, how is she going to get through this obstacle? Hawkeye shows up and he just handles it. And you're just kind of like, does that take the fun out of it? No, because I didn't think that they would be able to deal with this problem, and Hawkeye seemingly dealt with it with no issue. And it reminds you of Oliver Queen's sort of
very
Green
much
Arrow
so
vibe where you're just kind of like, how are you going to do that with a bow and arrow? And he goes and does it, and you're like,
and you're like, okay, I forgot that you're actually like a really smart dude and tactically brilliant. Like you actually know how to do shit a lot, like really well.
Yeah, exactly. You know how to win fights you shouldn't win.
Yeah, exactly. And here's my my prediction. We're 5 episodes in. 6th is a couple days from now. The finale of what I believe will be season 1. I think there will be a second season of Hawkeye. I think that revelation will be revealed to us next week, or within the next couple days. And I think the main character in season 2 will be Kate Bishop.
Mm-hmm.
And therein, what I'm hoping for right now, where I'm sitting, if Kingpin, stick with me here.
Okay.
Kingpin murders Hawkeye, or gets Eleanor Bishop, Kate's mom, to shoot and murder Hawkeye.
No, Hawkeye's not getting caught lacking. I'm sorry.
Hawkeye's not getting caught lacking unless it's some situation in which it's complete and utter bullshit. Like, it's something that's like...
Yeah, I can see that.
Like, and my thing is that, like, every superhero has this tragic fucking origin story, and I don't think there'd be a better tragic origin story for Kate Bishop than her mom murdered her idol and then...
Yeah, it turns out she was working with the Kingpin.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, yeah, she just found that out at the end of the last episode, right? When they did that, I felt like I was like 20 minutes into the episode.
Yeah, that was a quick episode. I
was like, fuck, it's over already? Like,
yeah.
Shit.
Yeah, I'm really excited for this week's, though. It's going to be good. But yeah, that's, and I think that season 2 of Hawkeye, the immediate supporting castmate will be Florence Pugh's Yelena Belova, and it'll be kind of a Hawkeye and the Black Widow.
Yeah.
Passing it from Clint Barton and Natasha Romanoff to...
I've heard rumors about possibly a Young Avengers.
Yeah. And that's the thing, is that if it hasn't been announced, they're going to have to get on it.
Right.
Because they're not going to be young for... Like, they're not going to be that young for long. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. But, I mean, what's the benefit of doing the Young Avengers? Because, I mean, honestly, I don't feel like Young Avengers is taking on Galactus. Young Avengers is not taking on...
You know, I could see them taking on... furthermore, I could see them taking on a character like the Kingpin. And and like the Power Broker, Sharon Carter. Characters like that. Like, I could see that a lot more. Like, a real-world threat, crime boss sort of thing, not intergalactic, multiversal implication.
Yeah. The Power Broker. It's fucking funny. Just a fucking hilarious character, because it's like they really acted like you did not know who the Power Broker was the whole time.
Well, and that was the thing, is that like they were like, Tillman got to the point where he was like, it's not Sharon, because they are pointing too obviously to the point that it is Sharon. So like he was like, either they're really bad at trying to surprise us,
yeah,
or they're head faking the shit out of us.
Yeah. Turns out they're just really bad at trying to surprise us.
No, yeah, it was like, oh, you're the Power Broker. Who saw that coming?
I swear. I was like, this is the weakest part of the show, because I know they're setting some shit up for later down the line. And
I ain't even gonna cap. Have I talked to you about how the formula is getting a little bit more set in for the Marvel shows?
No, I don't think so.
I don't know if you noticed, but literally every single one of them is like, who is actually the problem here? Who is the villain? What are we doing here? Second to last episode, this is who you need to be mad at. This is who's been the problem this whole time. WandaVision, it was Agatha Harkness. Falcon the Winter Soldier, the Power Broker was revealed to be Sharon Carter. In Loki, He Who Remains shows up in the last episode. Hawkeye, Kingpin shows up in the second to last episode. So like,
you're onto something.
Yeah, like they're banking too much on the week to week. People will talk about it if there's a mystery. I just want to know what the fuck the villain's doing.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes I don't want it to be a reveal.
Right.
Like sometimes, like the fact that Kingpin has apparently been a part of this story.
Yeah.
The whole time.
Yeah.
Why not?
Why not?
Why not make that evident to us from the get-go?
Mm-hmm.
Or not evident. They did they allude to it, but like, why not make it a part of the story immediately?
Right.
It's just an interesting, and like I do like it. You know, like it's always exciting. Like the formula works. There's a reason it's the formula.
Right.
It's entertaining as hell. It's just, you know, sometimes hit me with something new. You know,
they are getting.
And then in What If fucking Ultron shows up in the second to last episode, and he's the big problem in the last episode. So like,
Yep. Yeah.
That's their thing. That's what they've done with the show so far. And like, I'm okay with it. I swear to God, though, if on Wednesday Maya dies, I'm gonna have a problem.
Yeah.
And I don't think she is. She's got Echo. Like, there's a spinoff series with her in the works. But if they were to kill off Carly Morgenthau and Maya Lopez,
are they gonna do an Echo spinoff series?
Yeah.
I didn't feel like Echo was a big enough character.
I think that and that's what's also really interesting is the fact that they've kind of like hardly introduced her.
Yeah.
She's been a part of the show, obviously, but she's got like a really obvious singular tunnel vision going on.
Yeah.
So I'm interested what her role in the finale is, and what it will be going forward.
Guess to kill Hawkeye.
But yeah, I don't know. We'll see. But
I also really want to, like, this interaction between Yelena and Hawkeye, I think is going to be, they've built that up quite a bit.
Oh yeah, as soon as Clint can sit down and talk to Yelena and be like,
yeah,
yo,
well, but I fear
your sister was my best friend.
I fear it doesn't even get there. Like, I fear,
you fear one of them has to kill the other before it's too late.
Yelena is very headstrong. Yeah. And
she's very about that action.
Hawkeye is not the greatest at communication.
No.
So who knows? I'm excited.
I am too. But moving on from the Marvel shows, since they had a plurality and we talked about them extensively on the podcast in episodic format for WandaVision, The Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and Loki, with podcasts on What If, and now a couple episodes where me and Tavarus have talked about Hawkeye quite a bit.
Yeah.
So, moving away from that, in the DC realm, Titans and Doom Patrol on HBO Max released each of them, I think, was their third season.
Uh-huh.
And I couldn't. Maybe it was just that there was so much other content that it was just kind of like, I don't care enough about this. But I tried. I watched the first 2 episodes of both of them, and I have watched the first 2 episodes and the rest of the episodes of other series. So,
yeah,
I'm like, maybe this just wasn't doing it for me.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, I think with the DC TV shows, at least they're trying to kind of fill the void that the CW has left in a lot of ways. I feel like with the way that their shows are written, because I don't they take things a lot more serious than the CW does. The CW is just utterly gimmicky at times.
It is. It is.
Have you seen this most recent thing on The Flash of reverse Barry Allen?
Yeah, and it's like, well, I've actually heard that like this season of Flash, like if there was one you were gonna just go ahead and hop back in on, it was this one.
I've heard that too. But it's because they went back to the same storyline they've tired out like 3 times already. They were just like, instead of Reverse Flash, Barry is Reverse Flash.
They'll fucking love this one, guys.
I'm like, just fucking name the show Barry, like the Flash and Reverse Flash,
bro.
That's the only thing that's getting this show watched is when you introduce the Reverse Flash.
I will say, CW has nailed one show for sure since it's kind of mostly decline.
Mm-hmm.
Superman and Lois.
Okay.
This show's really fucking good.
I haven't watched that one yet.
It's one of my favorite Superman adaptations, if not my favorite Superman adaptation. Tyler Hoechlin rocks. Lois Lane is my favorite Lois Lane we've ever gotten, and the whole premise is them raising a family. You got John Kent and his brother. I want to say Josh, but that sounds wrong. Maybe I'm right. I don't know. I watched it a while ago. It came out a long time ago. You can't hold me accountable for this. It was it's really really good, and they've moved from Metropolis to Smallville. Okay. In an effort to focus more on the family. Okay. And
so instead of Clark growing up in Smallville,
I think he still grew up in Smallville. He's just raising his kids in Smallville as well, instead of Metropolis.
I don't think I've ever seen a Superman with kids.
It's like it's one of the it's the reason this story is compelling is because Superman's a dad. Mm-hmm. Like it's him figuring out how to balance it. Like how to be Superman and also be a good father to his kids.
What sort of threats is he dealing? Because I feel like, especially in the CW universe, the problem was in a lot of ways was like the strongest hero was never fucking around for all of these like massive world-altering events.
Right. So they've got the multiverse thing going right now in the CW. So the guy, the villain, as it stood in Superman and Lois, and I don't want to dive too deeply into it to avoid spoilers, but he is a person from another reality where Superman has gone dark, joined his fellow Kryptonians, and turned against humanity instead of joining humanity and fighting against the Kryptonians. And in that reality, apparently it's gone the exact same way that it has in this reality. It's just that one thing goes different. This guy who's trying to stop Superman is married to Lois Lane in the other reality.
What the fuck?
Yeah, so like it's really good.
Is it Batman?
No. It's actually kind of confusing because I'm not you'll have to watch. His last name's Luthor though.
It's not Lex Luthor.
It's not Lex Luthor though. So it's like, what are we doing here? And I'm not well versed enough in Superman lore to like know who the character is. Like, so I feel a little bad talking about it, but like he's like it's a really good season of television.
You know, honestly, I'm not really well versed. I don't see many things period about Superman comics as much as I do Batman comics or Flash comics. Or maybe that's just because I'm more interested in those characters. Who knows?
And see, I've always been more interested in all the other DC characters. For some reason, Superman just never really did it for me. I think it's just because like he's the ultimate power.
Ultimate, yeah.
Like it's like I don't want to watch this dude. I want to watch
like here's a dude that technically can't lose.
Yeah, unless you have this very specific element.
Yeah,
from a different planet. But no, man, this Superman and Lois was definitely just a really, really good show. And if there's any CW show you should get back into, I strongly recommend Superman and Lois.
Okay.
And the last few. Let's touch on a couple Marvel ones. Just for a second. Hitmonkey and Marvel's MODOK. Yep. These are both on Hulu, both animated, both hilarious. Hitmonkey has a little bit more of a sad undertone. I've only watched a couple episodes of it, but I can already tell it's a little bit more sad. Mm-hmm. Marvel's MODOK is straight up funny. That shit is just hilarious.
Okay.
Strongly recommend that one. Voiced by Patton Oswalt.
I love Patton Oswalt.
I do too, and he is fantastic as MODOK. Yeah. And it's another one of those where he's raising a family. He's got a daughter who has the same thing going on as him. So she's got her own floating chair. And
was Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. finished this year? Or was that last year?
Oh, fuck.
I think that was this year.
That might have been this year.
I
never got back into it.
I never got back into it, too. I really loved that show.
I loved it for a few seasons, man. Like, those first 5... really first 3, and then it like kind of loses steam and kind of pulls it back together in an exciting way a little bit, and then loses it. Like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.'s a really confusing one because it's like it was,
and it's those later seasons too. The first 3-4 seasons, strong.
Oh, I love that show for the first few seasons, and then like you take a dip. Then you come back to like Ghost Rider and stuff, and you're like, okay, this is cool. And then Ghost you take another dip. Then we're doing this time traveling thing where we're in the future and Kree have destroyed the Earth, and it's like, what the fuck's going on here?
That wasn't too terrible, but then they were like, Coulson's back as a villain.
Coulson's back, and it's not actually Coulson.
I know why I didn't watch this last season, because they went back in time. You remember?
Yes, they went through arrows. And
I was like, I just don't want to see a period piece right now. I'm sorry.
Yeah, they did. They went back in time.
Yeah,
I'll get to it. You know, I will watch it at some point. It just won't be anytime soon. But yeah, and lastly, one of, if not the best superhero TV show of the year was Invincible on Amazon Prime. Many will consider it the best superhero show of the year. Just front to back fucking entertaining, a mystery that keeps you on the edge of your seat, unlike these other Marvel shows where it's kind of like, I can kind of actually tell exactly what's going on, but are you head faking me?
Yeah.
This, it's like, I have no idea what the fuck's going on. Please tell me. And they bring it together. It's really satisfying. And then they're like, season 2 is going to be even fucking crazier. So it's like, Invincible's just, I can't recommend Invincible enough.
That's wild. Yeah.
But yeah, man, that's kind of what we got here for 2021 in terms of comic book movies and TV shows.
Yeah, I don't know, Marvel still kind of killing it. Saw someone the other day, was like, what about, quote, superhero fatigue? Nah, man, that's nowhere near. No, it's like saying anime fatigue in Japan. Like, no,
we found the thing that America is good at.
Yeah,
we make superhero movies.
I mean, but that's another weird thing. Is like anime in Japan is the equivalent of our superheroes. Like Naruto is fucking Superman.
Yeah.
Like, they just conceptualize it in different ways.
Yeah.
But they do things that bring together all of those universes. They don't spend as much time. Like, we're much more logical than the sort
we're
of
like, we need
mechanics
to the universe,
like,
man.
What's the like, how the fuck?
Batman just can't show up in a Doctor Strange movie, man.
Yeah, we really are like that, huh?
Yeah, but like, here's the thing: what if he fucking did? What would you do then? Like, and like, you didn't have any like it just happens, and you're just like,
what if they had Spider-Man versus fucking Batman?
Is that the worst thing in the fucking world? No.
I would watch that.
I'd watch the shit out of it.
Batman versus...
That's how I know Disney's gonna buy DC one day, and it's gonna be a problem for all of us.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, man, shit. You want a little 2022 previews? Just like, we got the Batman coming next year. Morbius in January.
Yeah, the Morbius trailer was kind of interesting and slightly terrifying.
Yeah, it looks freaky. And have you like noticed that like there's a whole bunch of mixed messaging in terms of what universe it's taking place in? So there's a whole bunch of references to like Andrew Garfield's reality. The Oscorp that exists is the same Oscorp building that is in Andrew Garfield's reality, and because Willem Dafoe in No Way Home says Oscorp doesn't exist here, someone else
that's what I was thinking. I was like,
doesn't exist in the MCU.
Doesn't exist in the MCU.
Doesn't exist in the MCU, but MCU's Vulture is in Morbius. Michael Keaton, when he's like, "Hey, Dr. Mike, we should stay in touch."
Yeah.
That's Vulture from Spider-Man Homecoming. And the background of one of these shots is a spray painting of Spider-Man, Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man, with the words "murderer" spray painted over it.
Okay.
So it's just kind of like, what the fuck is going on here? Is this some sort of just like weird alternate reality where like all of these realities have kind of like come into one?
Yeah.
Which is just an interesting little concept.
That is an interesting concept. I have no idea. And so Blake comes out next year too, right?
I don't remember if that's a 2022 one or if that'll end up being 2023. However, there's a whole bunch of shit on the horizon.
Yeah, Marvel is definitely dipping their toe into the more adult theme
for sure.
movies, which I'm interested to kind of see, because those, I think, if they keep at this level of success with each product they put out, That's gonna be insane.
Like, that's the thing, is that, like, even though Shang-Chi and Black Widow obviously didn't put up Spider-Man No Way Home numbers.
Mm-hmm.
They put up the best fucking numbers of the last 2 years besides that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, there is no superhero fatigue. And, like, I do get the whole, like, superhero movies are ruining cinemas. And it's like, well, no, they're the only thing keeping cinemas open, actually, at the moment.
Kind of. Pretty much. People just want to watch fucking superheroes for some reason. But
well, I mean,
give
like,
the people what they want.
For example, this weekend, Spider-Man No Way Home made $250 million or something like that, and West Side Story made $3 million.
Oh, God.
Yeah, like, it's like...
Yeah, who went to go see something other than Spider-Man? Like, at the movie theater I went to, every fucking theater was playing Spider-Man. And I think I've heard of, like, Marvel or whatever buying out theaters for that purpose.
And see, that's Boosie. Like, that part of it kind of sucks. Like, the fact that House of Gucci came out in November. I cannot see it at my AMC anymore.
What the fuck is House
because
of Gucci?
It's got Lady Gaga, Adam Driver, Jared Leto.
Didn't even hear about that.
Oh yeah, it's about the Guccis who founded Gucci.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Have you seen it?
No, it sounds awesome though, and I wanted to see it.
Yeah.
But I couldn't.
Yeah.
So and like that was when I was like, I get it. I was like, I do kind of get it. All right, so Spider-Man No Way Home shows up, and now I can't see any of like the regular fucking movies. You know what I'm saying?
Right. That's wild.
Yeah, it is. But regardless, they are undoubtedly what's keeping movie theaters open. Superhero movies, because without them, no money would be being made at the box office. It's not that superhero movies are attracting attention away from the other films. It's that the masses don't want to go see artisan films. They want to see fucking roller coaster films and amusement park films.
And I mean, I think artisan films are becoming much more. The bar is getting higher at the same time as they're making less money on average.
Right. Shit, man.
Yeah.
Fuck.
I mean, we got Matrix coming out in, 2 days?
2 days Matrix is out.
I'm excited for that. I am beyond excited. I need to rewatch Matrix. That's what I'm going to do.
That's what I'm going to do the next few days. I'm going to rewatch the Matrix trilogy, and then...
Because I think I told you this before, though. The older I get, when I watch the Matrix movies, they come through on a different... Because they are asking deeply existential questions in the Matrix. Like, questions that have troubled academics for centuries. Nobody knows the answers.
Socrates was wondering.
Socrates was wondering. Yeah, no, it's actually based on... I think a lot of the Matrix is based on Jean Baudrillard's writings, though, who's a postmodernist writing about the simulacra, which is the idea that it's the idea that we live in a simulation, except it's much more theoretically nuanced than that. It's not like,
it's not just we're in a simulation,
like,
man.
Hey, Elon Musk, are we in a simulation? Is this all just ones and zeros? Like, no, it's more like, do we like simulate our own behavior in a way? Do we behave in a way
that is
that's
a projection of ourselves instead of what we are truly
exactly? Yeah, no, and it's not reducible to.
Are we?
So we're inside a screen.
Yeah. We are not just some mechanical device on someone's shelf.
But the Matrix contextualizes it that way, and it still is able to communicate these very, like high level ideas about what is real, what is not real.
Right.
I wish they were coming out with a Matrix game. That shit would be insane.
It's got to be down the road somewhere, right? Like they'll eventually do a Matrix game.
I don't know. I showed you that thing with the Unreal Engine, though, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I can't get beyond it. I'm like, that game would be so cool.
That game would be so fucking awesome. That game would be so fucking cool. I fucking love
I've been revisiting. Have you heard about the Spider-Man remastered controversy thing?
Oh, I haven't heard about controversy.
I mean, not controversy, but people are just kind of like, what fucking happened? Why did you change Peter Parker?
Oh, to look like a new fucking guy?
Yeah, and so apparently, and I haven't played Miles Morales, but he's already changed
Yeah, they already changed him in Miles Morales.
Yeah, I don't know. That was weird because I saw it and I was like,
that's not the Spider-Man.
I thought the other guy
Parker.
looked fine. Like,
no, yeah, I did too. And like, I remember, I don't have like any like actual beef with it. But I remember the first time I did open up like Miles Morales' game and I played it, I was like, oh, I mean, okay.
Yeah.
Like, it was just not who I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, I've been thinking about getting Miles Morales. I kind of want to. I've been playing Spider-Man again.
That game's fucking fun.
Watching the movie.
Well, yeah, that's like my. What's fucking crazy is my mind's been dominated by Spider-Man. There's a new fucking Star Wars show in like a little over a week.
Oh fuck, man! Or
Book of
Boba Fett. Yeah.
Yeah.
God damn. Yeah. Wait, that's a little over a week.
9 days away.
Nice.
29th.
Nice.
Yeah.
We'll have some good stuff to watch and talk about.
Oh, dude, we'll have so much good shit. That's like we're just going to be saturated with content from here until eternity. It seems like I will never have to worry about being entertained again. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, pretty much.
like there used to be stints where it was like, God, we haven't gotten anything new and exciting in months, and now it's like
COVID.
Now it's like, God, it's been 2 weeks and we haven't gotten a new episode of something.
Pretty much.
And we won't have to go a stretch like that for a while, I don't think. But hell yeah, I think that's that.
I think that's that as well.
That was 2021 in comic book movies and shows. I was Colton Robertson, joined by Tavarus Pennington. Thank you very much, my homie.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Always happy to be here.
Always happy to have you, and it certainly will not be the last time. In the foreseeable future, you'll be back very soon. If you would, head to patreon.com/CoroBloom, where you'll find well over 21 hours of exclusive content at this point. Not available anywhere else. A bunch of artwork I post up there. I just recently, through all this Hawkeye hype, made a Kingpin digital painting that I posted up over there, and I'm pretty proud of it. Yeah, and if you would, follow on Twitter at PennyBloomPod, follow on Instagram at PennyBloomPodcast, and remember, as we head into Matrix Resurrections, peace, love, and bloom.
Peace, love, and bloom.
And always praise Keanu Reeves.
Fucking always.
Always do it.